Jojo, how come I never grow any taller? Ah? I sec 2 already. When is my growth spurt coming? Hey, which girl you chasing after? Ah? Hi guys, today teacher Lisa is not working. So I'm here at my friend's office to ask the questions about BGR. And my friend Ron is actually a counselor, professional one, and he actually specializes in working with students from 12 to 16 years old to talk them through about problems. So you see, usually we go and see doctor, right? And sometimes we see two doctors because we want second opinion. So if your parents give you first opinion and if you think like you need someone else to also talk to, then probably you might want to go and find my friend Ron at this Aquinas 0321. So let's go and find him. Hey Ron.
Hi.
Hey. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So
What brings you here?
hey, I disturb you.
Oh, no worries, no
Okay,
worries.
so this is Ron.
Hi, how are
Okay,
you?
so I have some question, Ron, to ask you, and it's about the BGR.
Oh,
Boy-girl relationship. So is
Ah,
it okay
yes.
we talk about it a little bit?
Sure, why not? Let's go over there and have a chat about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I know video here, maybe students are also listening to us, right? Hey, if your parents, you're listening to us, and these topics of BGR, if you feel like you want to get heart attack, don't worry. If by the end of the video, you really faint, I can give you free Nespresso coffee I myself make, then I help you revive your HP. Okay, so Ron, Singapore school, right, is very good, right, with doing all these sex ed, teach children about whether like how to like what are the consequences of the premarital sex, and if all these unplanned pregnancies. They also learn a lot about like the physiology of reproduction, right? But let's talk about what schools also don't talk about. So because students are so well educated nowadays, they might actually like come up with the idea that, you know, if they don't go all the way, so they abstain, and so boy-girl relationship is all about just hold hands, go dating, kissing, right? So is it really consequence-free and risk-free for them?
Well, any action has consequence. Yeah. And I guess the next word is responsibility to that consequence, right? And I think that we just need a lot of empathetic listening. And yes.
Yeah. So I come to think of the idea that actually, there can actually be psychological risk, right, and social risk if they want to do boy-girl relationships at that kind of age. So why not let's talk about the social risk, like social risk meaning like what kind of chances of risk factors there are with relation in regards to them and their group of friends, because friends at this kind of age is really the biggest deal, right, in their lives right now.
I think I will say it again. I think we need a safe space to have a discussion. I think every child or every person is going through what they think to be right and wrong very differently, along with peer pressure. So rather than jumping into conclusion about what we need to do, I think we need to have more listening. Yes. So I mean, in this place, we really emphasize on this listening. Yeah.
So does that also mean like you're suggesting that students should actually also talk to their friends like, hey, I'm already like in this relationship, but I really care about you?
No, I think that what is rather interesting is a lot of people, even ourselves, we seem to forget that our parents were young ones. Right? And by the way, if we're not going to say that we need to do what our parents did, the world has changed. But I think that to be able to speak to someone and feel safe about it, about consequences, about just what you're thinking, just the ability to process, right? And then we will, I mean, really allow their ideas to bounce off. Yeah, they're going through a really difficult time now.
Yeah. So what about gender differences, like between like the boys and the girls? Like if they are already like in relationship, right? So like
No.
what kind of challenge are there differences in the challenges that they are already facing?
Well, it's no longer quite a straightforward question. It's not even a question of whether it is a boy and a girl, right? And now there are vast different ideas about that. That's why we have Q, L, G, B, T, Q plus
Yeah.
and on,
Yeah,
and it's still
about it.
evolving. So I would say that it's no longer a straightforward struggle. And it's no longer a straightforward discussion, but rather we really need to listen. We really need to have a space of dialogue of non-judgmental discussion.
So then you're suggesting it's more of like a space of dialogue and discussion between student and the people that they trust, right?
To create a place so that they feel safe and so they can trust.
So which means it's actually in the responsibility of the parents for that kind of safe space that the children then will be able to trust them.
Yes, unfortunately, as adults, obviously we have our own regrets, right? In our own relationships of the past. But I think what's critical is not to bring upon what we experience onto our children. Correct? They actually have an opportunity of a fresh start. But as I say again, I think the problem of sexuality has gone too complicated, or rather, shall I say, not straightforward, right? And you can argue that it's actually a lifestyle now. Some children younger will even consider things like non-binary.
Okay.
They are very new topics now, so perhaps we really need to listen, create a space of listening and trust.
So parents should ideally continue to be in the loop, right, with their children.
Or rather first start a place of communication. Like it's not about tapping or putting an Apple tag or putting a phone or a tracking, right? I mean, all those have their place. That's not what I'm talking about. But fundamentally, the children need to feel safe to have a conversation with us.
Yeah, like if they don't feel safe, they will end up like talking to someone else.
Someone else,
their
right?
parents,
And wouldn't that be worse, right?
But then if let's say student out there, right, you if you want to reach out to your parents, how to actually do this first step?
Or rather, I can't be a judge to say what's your home situation. I mean, let's start off first that there's a lot going on, and I'm recognizing that there's a lot going on around now, right? First, I think we need to discern, like to feel what our ideals are, and then if we speak to someone who is involved in this, correct, then likely you get a more non-judgmental space to openly feel that you can share what is really bothering you without being judged, and that's key. And then we could then move on to say we can actually help and advise like who to how do we break the ice with our parents.
So it's actually like both. A lot of communication skills involved here.
I wouldn't be calling skills. I would really just stress on a place of trust, a safe space, right? It is also true for the child. Like if you are struggling with your school, and I agree that it's struggling a lot, and you just want to find a space to talk about it, right? Then maybe it could be a counselor, but someone that you will trust, someone that you can work with, that you can trust.
Okay, so I mean, pertaining to parents out there, so is there like this one or two tips that you can give them to like help them create this trust? Because they keep mentioning about having safe space and trust. Maybe can I say, what if the parents are clueless about it? Can
so it's really simple. It's really simple, and it's also true for us too. So just think about this for a moment. Sometimes we just want to let it out, just to let it out, right? And honestly, most of the time we're not looking for an advice, right? So I would suggest, if anything that I have learned now, is empathetic listening, empathetic responses.
Yeah, that's really true.
Yeah, and start with that. So what if you could just listen without judgment, and respond without judgment?
I see. Okay, let's talk about the very last thing. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the heartbreaking thing, the breakups. So in my experience as a tutor, right, I also like notice like students also talk about breakups sometimes. So I don't know whether is it coincident or not. Like, because my students, when they talk about it, a lot of times it coincides with like a really major exam, like prelims, N levels, O levels or E levels. So is it just like because the number of students I handle, right, is a very small population of among all the students, so it's like kind of statistically insignificant, right? But or rather, in your experience, right, is it really there's a real psychological reason why breakups also tend to happen around periods of like really high stress for the students?
Well, I think it boils down to the word distraction. So when we are really stressed, obviously we want to get our mind off. And some people think it could be, could be a drink, it could be going out with your friends, but as an excess of any of it will turn into an addiction. I'll give you a simple example. So because I'm stressed, I'll take a look at my phone, watch a few TikTok and laugh a bit, but very quickly it spirals down into a full blown procrastination for the day, right? So I'm going to suggest that actually all of it are just noise and distraction. I think mentoring, when I mean by mentoring, is any tool and any advice and any adult that could just help the person struggling to bring their focus back to what's important.
So therefore, like the breakup is just a consequence of of all these distractors out there.
Correct. And then even the guilt that I'm in a relationship, and then there was a sudden guilt trip, right? That I should be studying and I shouldn't be in a relationship, and then they initiate something with a very strong response, like to initiate a breakup, right? So I mean, there's so many reasons for a response. So perhaps by looking at that, is perhaps we could acknowledge that we are going through a very stressful period, and that there's a lot of distractions out there, and a lot of guilt, but really keep to focus what's important at the moment.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that if students are facing the breakup situation, like maybe it's because the other partner initiates it, so they shouldn't blame themselves, right? Because it's not always because
that blaming yourself or you are forced to respond to it. Perhaps just allow everybody to cool down and to realize that, for example, O levels are coming, all the major exams are coming. Can we it's okay to park all our emotions away and just keep the important thing at hand, and for example, just clear the exam. But there's no need for a strong response to break up with your friends or anything like that. It just decide upon that right now, let's put a chapter away.
Okay, so I hope that has been very helpful to you. So, well, thank you, Ron, for today.
Oh, it's most pleasure.
So
it's such a pleasure.
If you have any question you want to ask Ron, so feel free to actually put in the comments. So I might pick a couple of comments, and then maybe if I'm free again, then I'll drop by Ron's office here. And then
you're most welcome.
We'll talk
and yeah, come Lisa anytime.
Alright, so thank you for watching.
Okay,
bye.